All right. We are live. Welcome in. Welcome into the house that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kirk Gowdy Avenue. College football's peek around the corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. If you love college football, and if you want a YouTube channel that covers everything in college football, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. The Colorado Purge. It's on. And I think it's a little too big. It's huge. I understand wanting to flip a roster as soon as you can, especially in this day and age of the transfer portal, NIL, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. He's in the seat. You're paying him a lot of money. You want to flip that roster, but holy cow. Holy smokes. We've never seen anything like this. And I'm just going to give you my opinion, and I want to hear yours in the comments section. I want to hear yours when you give us the phone call later in the show tonight. I don't think this is going to work. No, I'm not. I get it. Tony says Deion is cleaning out the dead weight. I mean, they're not all dead weight, first of all. I mean, some of those guys they basically cleaned out their whole last year's class. Yeah, they were 1-11 last year. They were terrible. I get it, but are you going to be able to flip the rot? You don't. I'm not saying year 1 or year 0, however you want to call Coach Prime's first year. You don't have to win many games. You just have to change the culture, get people excited, get the donors to spend money in the NIL collectives. I get the flipping of the roster, but this is on a level that I don't know, man. Is there something else going on? Is there not all these guys who are leaving because they were asked or kicked out. Some of them, I think there's more. There's some story tonight about a player wanting some tapes of him in practice so he could show it to potential coaches that want to, maybe are interested in him in the portal, and Colorado won't let him have it. And is there something going on? I don't know. The purge is quite big. A lot of action going on in Colorado. Everyone's talking about watch Colorado. Watch Colorado in terms of realignment. And now we're watching Coach Prime in his first year at Colorado. But then we have a remarkable purge that is going on. Robert Moffitt. Burn a roster to build a roster. You are either a genius or an idiot based upon the success. I mean, my goodness. I mean, this is so far beyond the normal. I mean, you have to have players. I know they're going to get some in the portal, but are they? I don't know, man. I mean, you got to build trust too. There's some massaging of the egos that have to go on. I get it. Mo and Vision, go ahead and jump in the portal. I get it. But look, man, look. Let's take a look. This was earlier. This was Max Olson. Now, this happened to be about 2 hours ago. Colorado cornerback Tavion Beasley and outside linebacker Zion Majelli, again, I apologize if I mispronounced the names, have entered the transfer portal, The Athletic has learned. Now up to 22 Colorado players in the portal since the spring game. So I'm sitting here typing away, getting ready for the show, working on the old monologue, and then bam! Colorado offensive line Travis Gray is entering the transfer portal. The Buffaloes signed 23 scholarship freshmen for the 2022 team. So far, 19 are transferring. And how many of these freshman guys even played? Not many. True freshmen on the 2022 team? I don't know, guys. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I get it. The chat room seems to be, go ahead, Prime. You got to flip the script. You got to get rid of the dead weight. You got to bring in. Who are these players in the portal, though? Who are these fascinating players in the portal that won't be dead weight at this time in April? Late April. Well, I have seen Kenneth Bowman. No NCAA coach is going to give practice video to another school. I have seen some Gophers who went into the portal who on their Twitter account is showing practice videos of them making good defensive plays in the secondary. I don't know, maybe they received those during the time at Minnesota, didn't have to give them back. I've seen those elsewhere. Maybe you're right, Mr. Bowman. Maybe you're right. But are we sure there isn't something else going on? I mean, that's like, even John Wilner brought it up tonight on his, it's insane. Is he doing the right thing here by going this far into flipping the roster? before the first year even starts. I mean, to this point, Mo envisioned. He did himself no favors cutting that promo on those kids while playing up for the camera. Yeah, when he introduced himself and he basically saying a lot of you guys aren't going to be here. I get it. I understand. I understand. He's trying to upgrade the talent on that roster. He knows he can recruit better than the previous coaching staffs. But this fast and to this extent, man, I don't know where these players are in the portal unless Deion, I mean, there's some out there, but unless Deion Sanders can convince a bunch of guys to jump in the portal, you have until April 30th. Today's April 25th. You have until April 30th to jump into the portal. Can he convince, can they recruit illegally? Get some players from other teams that are not in the portal yet and convince them to jump in, and the NIL collectives will take care of them. But again, I mean, when you have this much motion in, are players attracted to that? I don't know. I'm very wary about this whole thing. Good evening, Buckshot. Good evening to everybody. Lee, son of Sarek, Adam Vulture, Oakley, Tumasta. Tumasta says Deion is gone the second his son leaves. Shador Sanders. Now I gotta say, he looked pretty good in that spring game. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He doesn't. And that's what I saw before at Jackson State. But he sees the field. In my impression of him improved when I saw that game, spring game. That's not true for all the quarterbacks that I've watched. I did an episode on Tanner Mordecai, Wisconsin. We have an issue in Alabama. Holy smokes. Let's get to that right now. First of all, let's back it up. Let's get to our sponsor for tonight's show. Welcome to Blue Ridge Coffee Crafters. We invite you to discover the Blue Ridge Coffee Crafters difference. Clean hot air roasted coffee produces a smoother, a richer, a healthier coffee that is less bitter and less acidic. Our hot air roasted coffee uses convection heat to loft the beans for a very even heat transfer. The clean, the bright taste that people rave about is achieved by roasting the bean quickly and evenly while suspended on a bed of hot air from craft to cup. Hand-picked coffee beans, the Blue Ridge Coffee Crafters. The smoothest coffee the wife and I have ever had. So go to the link provided in the description and order yourself a bag of these beautiful beans. And if you want to support our channel in doing so, put PATC in the comment section in the website when you order from the great people at Blue Ridge Coffee Crafters. We are so lucky to have them as part of our show. And go to our merch store. The PATC official mug is there, the trucker hat, the hoodies, and the t-shirts will be appearing soon. And down the line, we're going to have a very, very special product from the one and only, the Little General. And it's very unique. I think you're going to love it. The Little General, PATC, a product will be emerging very, very soon. Or I shouldn't say very soon, but sometime down the line here this summer, going into the 2023 football season. And remember in the chat, these are the rules, cloak and dagger. Okay. That's true. Kenneth Bowman is saying just wait and see where most of these Colorado players end up. Most are getting offered to places like North Texas State, Coastal Carolina, among others. And the people that are available in the portal right now, it's the same thing for them. Most of them. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But things are so crazy in Colorado. Plus, with the realignment possibility. Watch Colorado. Andrew Michon talked about a few weeks ago. The Colorado Chancellor saying, we're not even thinking about leaving until we see what the offer is in front of us from the Pac-12. I might have to sing Rocky Mountain High tonight. I might just have to do it. So if I sing Rocky Mountain High, put your earplugs in, hit the mute button, leave the room. Don't turn off the channel. Just leave the room. Fill up your mug. But I'm just saying, things are getting so crazy in Colorado. I think I'm going to have to sing Colorado Mountain High tonight. Let's get to the next story. Sources. Notre Dame's Tyler Buchner to enter the transfer portal, and he has done so. Notre Dame quarterback Tyler Buchner intends to enter the NCAA transfer portal. Sources told ESPN on Tuesday, this was in the morning, Buchner's imminent entrance into the portal will make him the most accomplished quarterback to enter the spring period. And there is expected to be strong market for his services. Now, the most accomplished quarterback. I don't know. I'm gonna get through this, and I'm gonna give you my comments on it. He enters with a willingness to return to Notre Dame. Tyler Buchner is willing to return to Notre Dame if he doesn't like his options in the portal, sources told ESPN. Buckner entered this offseason with some momentum after starting the Fighting Irish 45-38 victory over South Carolina in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, going 18 for 33, 273 yards with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He began the 2022 season as the starter in the first 2 games against Ohio State and Marshall before suffering a shoulder injury against the Thundering Herd. Buckner enters the 2023 season as a junior, but has 3 years of eligibility remaining because he played just 3 games during the 2022 season as a sophomore, which makes him eligible for a redshirt season. One logical landing spot for Buckner will be Alabama. Other schools that have shown interest in portal quarterbacks this spring include TCU and Stanford. Former Notre Dame offensive coordinator Tommy Rees left the Irish for the Crimson Tide this season. It became increasingly clear in Alabama's spring game on Saturday that the program lacks a clear-cut starter. Absolutely. Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe, I don't know, man. I don't know. Nick Saban, I think he's got an issue on his hand. Nick Saban was lukewarm in his endorsement of any Crimson Tide quarterback after the spring game, and the coach left the door open in his post-game comments about the Crimson Tide looking at the transfer portal as a possible solution at the position. Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, the 2 Alabama players vying to replace Bryce Young as the starting quarterback, struggled during the Crimson Tide spring game, throwing a combined 3 interceptions while completing fewer than half their passes. I believe Jalen Milroe went like 18 of 37. Ty Simpson went something like 12 of 26. Buckner, who was ranked number 41 in ESPN's 300 class of 2021, entered Notre Dame as one of Brian Kelly's most heralded quarterback prospects during the coach tenure. Buckner battled with Wake Forest transfer Sam Hartman in the spring. Notre Dame coach Marcus Freeman was consistent with his comments this spring that Buckner had a good chance to win the job this fall because of his familiarity with the system. And we had Peek Around the Corner. We talked about it. I erupted when I read this. We did it on a live show. I said, you got to be kidding. Buckner's not going to win the QB1 at Notre Dame. Sam Hartman is the real deal Holyfield. And again, he showed it in the spring game. He has shown it at Wake Forest year after year after year. When Wake Forest needed to score a touchdown, every possession in the second half to pull a game out, he did it. Sam Hartman, there is a huge gap between those two. Nothing against Buckner, but come on. Sam Hartman was the number one quarterback in all of the transfer portal. Buckner might be the number one quarterback right here in the spring portal, but those are two different things. Here's Chris Hummer. Tyler Buchner will be fascinating in the portal. There are 3 SEC teams, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, who've been kicking the quarterback tires or have expressed an open willingness to add one. And given SEC teams can't take from each other, according to the conference rule, they can't take from each other, not this year, the rule will probably change next year. Someone like Buckner has a lot of leverage. Lot of leverage. Okay. This is the thing. Tyler Buchner. 2 years at Notre Dame. He's played very little. He's played very little as a freshman, of course. Last year he got injured, and that was unfortunate. He did show something in that bowl game. No question about it. Still threw 3 interceptions. Notre Dame's wide receiver room wasn't all that good last year. Okay? And yes, Greg Pflugart, Peek Around the Corner, we're not big fans of Tommy Rees as an offensive coordinator. So I don't know about Tyler Buchner. I always hear good things about Tyler Buchner, but I never see it with my eyes. In the little time that he has played, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a 127.6 rating. He looks like a young quarterback that needs a lot of development. Still. A higher ceiling than a Drew Pine, who came in after Buckner got hurt, and Drew Pine went 8-2 as the starter for Notre Dame, transferred to Arizona State, will probably be Dillingham's first starter at Arizona State under Dillingham. But, if there's not much in that portal. I mean, there's not the high grade players as there was earlier. So Alabama's going. Tommy Rees wants Buckner back. Is that true? And if it is true, does Tyler Buchner think Tommy Rees did something for him in his development? Maybe. Nick Saban, do you want Tommy Rees and Buckner to be your offensive coordinator and QB1 this year? Be careful, Alabama. That's all I got to say. Be very careful. And Florida's interested in Tyler Buchner. Yes, they should be. That I understand. Because Florida made a mistake, in my opinion, when they went and got Graham Mertz, the former quarterback of Wisconsin, to be their quarterback this year. And now did you see Florida's spring football game? Okay, you're saying, Greg, don't overreact. It was terrible. It was terrible. That offense, so if Buckner wants a sheer pathway to play, to be the starter, Florida maybe, I don't know. But I think Alabama, I'm starting to, in our way too early predictions, we have Georgia winning the SEC again. I think the gap might be growing between Bama and the Bulldogs. We'll see. Again, put down your comments in the comment section. Give me your phone calls and let me have it. How dare I even question Nick Saban and hiring Tommy Rees? But when Nick Saban has hired all these offensive coordinators, they've come in, they've all done a great job, except for maybe the one last year. How do I dare question Nick Saban's judgment on his new offensive coordinator and his potential quarterback coming in, as in Tyler Buchner? I don't know. I think it's kind of scary. I think it's kind of scary for Alabama. Now, this is a very strange situation. I don't know what to make of it. So PATC community, let me know. Let me have it. What is these, does this, I have not, I guess I'm not, I don't believe I've seen this before where a bunch of games get moved to a Friday. Friday during the season, all in one day, all in within 48 hours. I don't think it's some grand, like they're getting ready for Amazon to do Friday night. Amazon's not doing Big Ten games next year. And the chances of them doing Big Ten games in 2024 are slim. So I don't think it's an Amazon conspiracy. But here's Brett McMurphy. In the morning of April 24th, Michigan State season opener versus Central Florida moved up a day, Friday, September 1st. Then later in the day, Indiana's home game with Indiana State moved up a day to Friday, September 8th. And then 4:25 today, Virginia at Maryland game moved up a day to Friday, September 15th. Now, Big Ten's been having Friday games. And that's why in the chat earlier this winter, when people are saying that Big Ten doesn't really want to do Friday games, I've been saying they've been doing them. Now, the big schools, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, they won't do Friday night games, but the other schools will. Minnesota will. Now, Minnesota always starts the season off with a Thursday night game. But this is having Friday night games was part of their previous media package. It was. And I'm wondering if, remember, Tony Petitti, the new Big Ten commissioner, is the Big Ten doesn't quite have all their final decisions made in regards to the media contract right now going into 2023. We don't know all the details. And I don't think they even know all the details. Like, they're working on it still. Is there going to be a little bit more Friday night action during the season than last year and the year before and the year before? Is this part of that? Or does this normally happen? And I just, like in April, this is when the shift happens, when there's Saturday games scheduled. They get moved to a Friday game. Monovision, Friday games will be used for Big Ten Network or the Peacock exclusive. It could be some of these could be Peacock games. No question about it. No question about it. This could be a Peacock game. Very good point by Mo and Vision. You see, they're all different dates: September 1st, September 8th, September 15th. And Peacock's going to have 8 of them. 8 Big Ten games. And if you're streaming, you probably want a Friday night over a Saturday. But I don't know. I don't know why I've reached out. This is something that just sparked my interest this afternoon after seeing this third game within 24 hours being moved to a Friday. I don't know what to make of that. So those are the top topics. In regards to the Arizona State money purge, I've seen some questions on here. He's very active. He's very active right now, as you can imagine. Hopefully we'll have something that we can put out possibly tomorrow. I can't just read whatever he gives to BTM and his associates. I have to make sure it's okay, release it. I will say, from his perspective, from Arizona State, the Arizona schools, the people he talked with, the time for choosing is coming upon them here by the middle of May. He is sticking with that. That's what he believes. The time for choosing. Either stick or go. Either stick or go. Stick with the Pac-12 no matter what deal they get, because they'll get something, or it's time to go. And I know everyone's saying, well, they're not going to go until they see the deal. Well, I don't think that's an open-ended gesture from the Pac-12 presidents to George Kliavkoff. I don't think they're saying, George, take all the time you want, as long as you want. Just show us a deal whenever you want. As I showed on Twitter earlier today at Flag Empire, Arizona Robbins, University of Arizona President Robbins said to Stuart Mandel in middle of March, I expect the deal to be done in the next couple weeks, which didn't happen. He's not the first Pac-12 person in Pac-12 leadership whose expectations wasn't met on the timing of the deal. But Robbins also said, I'm the lone voice. I think people are missing this point. Robbins says, I'm the lone voice to say we can wait on this. We can be more patient. What he was telling everybody in those 3 separate interviews was the other presidents, they want to get a deal done now. They don't want to hear no more noise. They want to get a deal done now. And it wasn't done. I don't think this is going on to June 30th. I do not think it's going on to June 30th. The people we talked to do not believe this will go on. Either the Pac-12, who wants to stay together, makes a decision to stay together before June 30th, or that networks have spoken. They do not want a Pacific Coast conference, a regional conference on the Pacific Coast. They have spoken. The market, the media market recession has spoken. George Kliavkoff wants to up the value of his conference by giving those networks a fourth window that will increase his value of his own conference. Either way, fascinating story, either way, but this thing doesn't go to June 30th. I mean, you have other people depending on all, like, if the Pac-12 if the Pac-10, those 10 schools are going to expand by 2 more schools, San Diego State needs to know. They need to know. Else it's going to cost them even more money to leave if it's beyond June 30th. So, this is not going to June 30th. We don't believe so. And if it does, you guys are going to have a good time crushing on us, peek around the corner. And as for Adam Vulture says, no decision till Labor Day. I just don't see it. We don't hear that. I can tell you that. We are not hearing that at all. T-Duck, Colorado down to 16 returning players. 16 returning players. 16. 16. 16. I know there were 1-11 last year, but you still have to fill out a roster. Okay, we're doing it. It's insane. It's insanity. It's insanity. We're doing it. We're singing Rocky Mountain High. I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah, I got a haircut, Skull Ducky. I got a haircut. The wife made me do it. She demanded it. I'm singing it. Rocky Mountain High. Get your in dedication to Deion Sanders, in dedication to Rich George, Brett Yormark, Crazy Realignment, Watch Colorado, in dedication to Andrew Michon, we are singing Rocky Mountain High. It's going to be terrible. You have 1 more minute to hit the mute button. You have 1 more minute to you have 1 more minute to get out of the room. I just got a friend who just texted me, no. You got 1 minute to get out of the room. Hit the mute button. Do what you need to do. It's a crazy night in Colorado. Rocky Mountain High. Deion Sanders purging away. Tony's got it muted. Joey, hide the dog and cat. Christopher, it's going to be terrible. I'm not going bald. I'm not going bald. Yeah, Colorado have 25 walk-ons, get a scholarship if they don't get anyone from the portal. But again, is that pushing the ball forward for Colorado? I'm turning it up. There we go. Ryan Thomas. Greg won't stop singing until the Pac-12 schools make a move or get a deal. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Here we go. I've given you a warning. This is a dedication to the crazy times at the University of Colorado. Realignment, Deion Sanders, the great Colorado Purge, which I think has gone way too far. Holy smokes. Here we go. He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he's never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found a key for every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away on the road, hanging by a song. But the string's already broken and he doesn't really care. He keeps changing fast and it don't last for long. But the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain fire in the sky. The shadow from the starlight is softer than a lullaby. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, high in Colorado. He climbed Cathedral Mountains, he saw silver clouds below. He saw everything as far as you can see. And they say he got a crazy once and he tried to touch the sun. And he lost a friend but kept the memory. Now he walks in quiet solitude, the forest and the streams, seeking grace in every step he takes. His side has turned inside himself to try to understand the serenity of a clear blue mountain lake. And the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain fire in the sky. I talk to God and listen to the casual reply. Rocky Mountain High, high in Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, high in Colorado. Now his life is full of wonder, but his heart still knows some fear of a simple thing he cannot comprehend. Why they try to tear the mountains down to bring in a couple more people, more scars upon the land. And the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain fire in the sky. I knowed he'd been a poorer man if he never saw an eagle fly. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain fire in the sky. Friends around the campfire and everybody's high. Rocky Mountain High, high in Colorado. 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 There it is. There it is. Everybody survived Rocky Mountain High. Things are going crazy. Holy smokes. Woo! Should have sang this on 420. What happened on 420? John Denver is so saying to himself, man, don't sell yourself short. You're a tremendous slouch. Holy cow. Okay, John Denver spinning. I forgot my laugh track up here. Where is that? Don't have to worry about DMCA copyright flags on this song. Next due Saturday night in Toledo, Ohio. Holding my lighter in the air. Thank J-Rod. Appreciate it. Okay, Skins rule. Purge of the Colorado squad that went 1-11 last season may not be a bad idea. I agree, Skins rule. I agree. But to this extent, I mean, they're going to have to spend all the time building a roster. You spent all that time developing players that were in that 22 class. A lot of those guys in the 22 class didn't even play for that 1-11 team. Or didn't play much. Greg, you're going to get ding again for singing. That's okay. That's okay. You know, the dinging wasn't all that bad. I'm okay with it. We're okay. We're okay. The extent of the purge. The extent of the purge is remarkable. The Athletic had an article. It gave graphs and numbers. I didn't want to go through that on tonight's show. But it far exceeds anyone else that has ever gone this route. This is what people do. New first-year head coaches, they come in. They want their players. They play and as fast as possible. But you need players that have a team. I mean, and I don't see much in the port. This isn't like, how do I say this? This isn't like Deion's that like all these players are leaving in January. They're leaving in April. That's a big difference. Jim Chow says, Coach, Mr. Roger Dorrell recruited just a bunch of softy, safe space players. Opie says, I think if you sing the whole song, it's a copyright deal. Probably. It wasn't, when I sing the John Denver, thanks, J-Rod. When I sing this, it was a copyright strike, but it wasn't something that, I was going to be in big trouble for. That's how I read it. And I showed other people and they said, you're Greg, you're fine. They're just going to ding you on, I'll lose like $1 or so on Google ads. I'll have to share that with John Denver, I guess, and his estate. So I'm going to lose $1 or something. I think I'm okay. Now, we'll see what happens with this one. But come on. It's crazy in Colorado. Whoever, 12 months ago, who would have ever thought that Colorado would be front and center in college football world? We're talking about realignment. Colorado's one of the schools that Yormark is targeting for possible realignment. Chancellor just spoke. They hired Deion Sanders, Jackson State coach, the great Deion Sanders, NFL great Deion Sanders. Unbelievable. A lot of you are maybe too young, but Deion Sanders moved like nobody else before him. He moved the way he moved. Holy smokes. So he goes to Colorado. We have all these stories hinging around Colorado. If tonight I can't sing Rocky Mountain High, when am I ever going to sing it? When are you guys going to ever suffer through it if it wasn't going to happen tonight? So we made the decision at Peek Around the Corner. We had to do it. Yeah, I think I'm fine. We'll see. If I don't show up ever again on a YouTube, if this channel gets shut down, it will because of Rocky Mountain High, April 25th at 8:40 p.m. Central Time. When is Arizona going to jump ship? If they jump ship, we believe the prime window, Tony, if Arizona decides to jump ship, is between April 28th and May 17th. And that was, a week ago, 10 days ago, we said that. We don't think it was going to happen before April 28th. We don't think it's going to happen after May 17th, but we shall see. Yeah. I'll get dinged, but I will survive. I think I will survive. We'll see. Okay, let's do this. If you guys want to give a phone call tonight, it's a late night Peek Around the Corner. We usually don't do it this late, but it's how it works out in life. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. No, I don't sing on every show, so don't worry about that. Still subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button if you like our content, and then share the video with your family and friends. Word of mouth for the channel. It's growing so way beyond our projections, way beyond anything we dreamt about. We thank you so very much. And again, if you want to donate to the channel, hit the $ in the chat. We'll get to your question or comment as fast as soon as possible. I do want to apologize. There's a gentleman named Hunter from Mexico who donated to the show and our last live show, and I did not get to saying thank you to Hunter from Mexico, not from my family. I don't believe he's attached to my family in Mexico, but I thank him so very much for your donation, and I apologize for not getting to you late in that show to say thank you. Okay? All right, let's open up the phone lines just in case someone wants to talk college football, Colorado. Tyler Buchner, is he going to go to Alabama? I think he should go to Florida. It's just my suggestion. Just phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. Talk about anything college football that you desire. The floor will be yours. Tony's saying, Greg, if we don't see you again, the Big Ten goons will have hauled you away. If the Big Ten goons was ever going to haul me away, it would have happened. It would have happened 2022. They were not happy. They were not happy with me. And that's been confirmed, but I can't. Forget it. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but reporters, big time report, people have gone down that rabbit hole, and yes, Big Ten was not happy with me. I'll never be invited to any of their media stuff. Not going to happen. Okay. Lee says Tyler Buchner already knows where he's going. He has DNC on his name in the portal. Do not contact. Very interesting. Yeah, he doesn't want to be contacted by the other schools. Lee believes because he's waiting for probably that Alabama official call in the portal, or maybe Florida, or maybe Tennessee, or maybe Wisconsin. No, that's not going to happen. I think every conference is mad at you except for SEC for now. Probably. 60 to 70% of the people in the chat room right now are mad at me. We are the rebel outpost of all college football YouTube. So that's going to happen. Thank you, Star. I appreciate it. Greg, you have a voice of an angel. That angel must have a cracked vocal box, vocal cords, but thank you so much. Appreciate it. Very, very kind of you. We did okay. You got to remember, I'm singing this stuff from a cappella. I have no music behind me. I'm trying not to kill you all. But this is part of the show. Singing is part of the show. We do fight songs during the season. If people donate to the show, saying that if their school beats another school and it's an upset win, I will sing their fight song in the next live show. So no matter how bad it gets, and it's not going to get better. It's not like at age 55, I'm going to suddenly become a singer that you all enjoy. That's not going to happen. We do everything on this. Channel. We sing, we watch.
Call from
Monavision.
Monavision. He's in the house. Mr. Buckeye, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. I just wanted to talk about the Friday night games.
Okay, yeah.
I'd love to talk about Deion Sanders, but that's a circus sideshow, and I don't even really think it's worth discussing.
Got it.
The Friday night games, I think, like I mentioned, those are definitely going to be your Peacock games.
Okay.
I mean, look at the quality of the games they're moving up.
Yeah.
The best game of those three is UVA versus Maryland.
Yeah.
And that's the best game. So, but I think you're right. I don't think this is for Amazon this year, but that is definitely a test run for streaming a Friday night game. And they could take those numbers and possibly in the future use that to determine the value for Amazon or another streaming partner.
Yes, sir.
And Buckner, there was no way Buckner was staying when they brought in Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman was the best quarterback in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
You don't bring him on, and so I think everybody knew Tyler Buchner was leaving anyway.
Yeah.
He's not staying.
No, I don't. Man, when that's what we thought when Sam Hartman was first announced that he was going in the portal, because when he went in the portal, everyone suspected he'd be with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But man, during I know coaches like to brag about their backup quarterback because they don't want their backup quarterback to go into the portal. So they're managing the roster. These head coaches in these spring press conferences during the spring camp, they're always saying, oh, our backup quarterback's just doing wonderful, awesome, great, because they don't want the guy to leave. And they went overboard. Notre Dame, man, they were praising Tyler Buchner like crazy. Even the Peter Sampson and the reporters, oh, he's looking great. In the spring game, he did not look good. I know there's a lot of variables to that. I shouldn't overreact. Of course, you're right. But I haven't really seen it from him in a regular game. So he should move on. I don't think Alabama should take him. Monovision.
Well, who else are they?
I don't know, but
he was a 5-star coming out.
I know.
It's not like,
yeah.
But I would put it out there that Joe Burrow lost a quarterback competition to Dwayne Haskins, and 2 years later won the Heisman Trophy.
I know, but
it's not unheard of to leave a school not being good and go to another school and become great.
I get it. That's a great example, except for me personally. When Joe Burrow lost the quarterback position to Haskins went on to complete 70% of his passes in the next year. I mean, it isn't like the Buckeyes made a completely bad decision about that. But anyways, on Twitter at Flag Empire, I was raving about Joe Burrow, even when he didn't get the job at Ohio State. And I was saying, in fact, there's a tweet. I'll forward you the tweet late tonight or early tomorrow morning, Monovision. But I got a tweet out there saying, oh no, Nebraska's going to get Joe Burrows. Oh no, because I didn't want that Big Ten West division, right? And then what did Scott Frost do? He passed on him. He didn't want him. Burrows wanted to go to Nebraska. And Scott Frost said no. He said something out in public. I don't remember what it was. Something like, he can't beat out the guy we got, or some stupid comment. So anyways, I'm sorry to go on a tangent, but I love Burrow, even when he didn't.
You're 100% right, but I mean, it's a matter of the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. Once Joe Burrow got Brady down there at LSU, it clicked. So, I mean, if Buckner can find that right offensive coordinator, then it might be Tommy Rees. It might be.
See, I'm not a Tommy Rees fan either.
I'm not a Tommy Rees fan either, but, it's the talent level at Alabama is a lot different than the talent level at Notre Dame, strictly because of the academic standards at Notre Dame. So it's possible Tommy Rees could. I mean, a lot of OCs have been rehabilitated under Nick Saban. I don't want to bet against Nick Saban. I don't. He's proven himself to be too successful and run too successful of a program to bet against him. So if I'm Buckner and they're offering, I'm taking.
Okay. I understand that from Buckner's point of view. I'm putting out a warning though to Alabama fans. I don't know about this. I don't know about your Tommy Rees.
Well, everybody heard it here first. Tyler Buchner's going to win the Heisman Trophy this year.
Come on.
Greg just put that voodoo on him. All right, Greg. Just want to say no future big expansion without Notre Dame. I haven't said that in a while, and
got it.
I'm going to continue to try and will that into existence.
Okay, thank you, sir. Great phone call. Thanks, Monovision, for calling. Great call, as always, from Mr. Buckeye. Tony says, did you see Nebraska and Illinois was moved to Friday? When was that moved to Friday? Tony, did that just happen, or how many how many Friday games are scheduled right now? We know in the contract that Peacock has 8 games. 8 Big Ten games. Let's see here. It says here, no, that's wrong. It says here Nebraska at Illinois, Saturday, October 7th. Did that just get moved tonight or what? Okay, they haven't updated Nebraska's schedule, Tony, if that's the case. We did, and I'll post these up on the screen here. The last couple of days was Michigan State season opener versus Central Michigan, moved up a day to Friday, September 1st. Indiana's home game with Indiana State moved up a date to Friday, September 8th. Brett McMurphy then says today, Virginia at Maryland game moved up a day to Friday, September 15th. So, and I see, according to Illinois' schedule, Nebraska's schedule, that game is still on Saturday. Let me check Illinois. And according to Illinois' schedule, it's still on a Saturday. We'll keep an eye out for it. But I think Moen Vision probably has it nailed. This is probably a Peacock. They're lining up the Peacock games. Remember, they don't have. They're still working on the schedule for 2023 at not who plays who, but where, moving things around and make sure all their new media partners are satisfied. And of course, 2024, we don't have a schedule yet. The Big Ten doesn't have permanent rivals yet. I want to see UCLA play against the Minnesota Golden Gophers in Minnesota, second to the last week of the season. Get the Bruins up in the cold at Huntington Bank Stadium. Next year, 2024, the first year UCLA and USC is in the Big Ten, the Gophers will end the season at Wisconsin. Wisconsin plays at Minnesota at the end of this year. Next year, it's at Wisconsin. So the week before, Gophers will probably have a home game. Let it be UCLA. Oh, let it be USC. But I think if they're going to do something with USC, making sure they play in a cold weather place, second week, like November 18th, 19th, 17th, around there, they'll have them go somewhere else, maybe Wisconsin. But Minnesota, where it's colder than anywhere else in November, third week in November, second week in November, have UCLA come to Minnesota. Year number 1. Bruins, Gophers, get them up here. Get them up here. Yeah, Gophers always start on a Thursday. Thursday night, Gophers open up the season. Sometimes there's a Rutgers game a couple hours earlier. I don't know if Rutgers have a Thursday game this year, but the Gophers are the tradition for the Big Ten. They open it up. A couple years ago, the Gophers played the Buckeyes in Minnesota. That was a fun game. Fun game until middle of the third quarter when Mo Ibrahim tore his Achilles after gaining 163 yards against the Buckeyes in the middle of the third quarter. Let's see UCLA play Notre Dame in South Bend as a conference game. Okay. All right. What's going on here? What's going on? SB Nation and Illinois message board are reporting the change in date. Okay, give me a second, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Cameron, remind me, what are you talking about? Oh, the Jayhawk fight song. We're going to wait, Cameron, until the football season starts. We're not going to do fight songs during the off season. I will sing that song. I will sing that, Cameron.
Call from
Western Civic.
Western Civic is in the house. What's going on?
Well, I have to admit, I missed the show, so except for the last 5 minutes, but here it is. And I said there's something on my mind I was going to bring up if you gave me a window again, and here we are. I want to talk about independence, and I want to talk about the need for annual playoff flexibility, because all this stuff is coming up, and I want people to think about this.
Got it.
You know, and so here we go. Look, college football is not the NFL. That's why we love it.
Yeah.
That's why we're all here. That's why we all care about Saturdays more than Sundays here in the middle of April even, or the end of April.
Yep.
And, you know, it's the nuance of the game. It's those of us who've been raised around the game, those of us who are lucky enough to go to a university and attend games, you get to understand certain nuances about it. You know, there's just certain traditions and ways things are done. And so, and all that's really important. And also, we're dealing with so many teams. I mean, there's no way. I mean, we're trying to break this down to 2 mega teams or 3, you know, mega conferences or whatever. There's no way we're ever going to be able to do it perfectly, and we need to have flexibility. What I want to say is, you look at everything that we've tried so far, the BCS. We're at 4 teams right now. I mean, last year, everybody, what did we want to see last year? We wanted to see Michigan play Georgia. That's the game everybody wanted to see, right? And we didn't even get to see it because.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just, when you set an arbitrary number of slots before the season begins, you're gonna get it wrong. And the other thing is, we need to keep the bowl games. Okay, so let's go down. Those of you who've read the memo that we sort of cobbled together from the information we had last August, if you've seen it with, hopefully you've seen it with spaces in it. YouTube doesn't ever allow the spaces to be in there, but we talked about, and you've been talking about it too, Greg, the semifinals in early December, right? Conference semifinals in early December. Well, there's another window, another way that we can preserve some of the beauties of college football. And one of them, I'm sorry, Greg, I don't know if anyone wants to talk to me. Notre Dame's never given up their independence unless you, put out a warrant for their arrest. It's not happening. Okay? Yeah. They're staying independent. And this is one of the cool things. And so what we've heard talked about, and what I think is great, is this concept of the independent invitational that would take place at the same time as the conference semifinals. So if, Notre Dame has a good year, and the other 2 major independents we think are going to come out of this are BYU and West Virginia. BYU having a loose affiliation with whatever comes out of the Big 12, West Virginia having a loose affiliation with the SEC, and Notre Dame with the Big 10, putting all their other sports in those. Possibly the service academies, but we'll have to see how they're able to recruit in this new world and all that kind of stuff. But at least those 3, we think, makes a lot of sense. And with that independent invitational, you have the 3 eligible conferences, but there are other teams, a lot of Division I teams that are going to be playing beyond that. If you have a great year, if you go undefeated in your Division I, maybe you get an invite. Automatically, you transcend. You become eligible, and you get an invite to that independent invitational, maybe against a good BYU team or a mediocre Notre Dame team, depending on what, or just 2 other teams. I mean, it would be one of these things. That's the first flexible slot right there. And whoever's in charge of putting the playoff commission together should have the authority over the independent invitational as well. And everybody else goes to the regular bowl games. And then you have the conference championship games, and we can maintain our tradition. All our conference championship games on New Year's Day. Okay, for the Big Championship in the Rose, you have the Big 12 or the third 25 in the Cotton, and the SEC in the Sugar. And then from there, whoever wins those games have automatic advanced playoff slots. But that's only 3, right? And obviously we're going to need a 4th. And maybe whoever comes out of the bowl is looking good. You can set up those bowl games in ways that, if there are questions that need to be answered. And so you want to get as few games as possible after the bowl games, I think. I think they should have great flexibility. You don't know how it's going to go. If you've got, there should be a clear, articulable delineation, I think was the phrase, between the last team included in the playoffs and the last one left out of eligible teams. It should be, the number of wins, number of losses, or some head-to-head. I mean, something that was decided on the field, hopefully, right? And they could call 6, they could call it to 12. And you just got to have that flexibility in January and maybe give them up to, maybe the first week in February if needed. But hopefully it's just 4, You'll have 4, so 2 weeks after the bowl games, you'll have the 3 conference champions, the Big 12 or the third 25, and then the Big 10 and the SEC, and then a wild card, whoever has it coming. Or maybe more than 1, maybe up to 8 that year. It just depends. I mean, think of how many things we could settle that way. And we just need to empower whatever this commission is on the give them a set of rules on the national championship of college football. And we shouldn't be looking for who's number 2 or number 3. They should just set something up with as few games as necessary after the bowl games to answer just the one question: who is number 1? And who can hand it to who on the field. And anyway, with that, I wanted to throw that out there.
Got it.
That's something we kind of, that's like, we've heard it talked about. I don't know if anyone on the inside's talking about that. The other information we have in there is pretty good, I think. Cobbled together from some old friends and just mostly public information, guys. It's out there if you just listen to these guys and what they're saying. Anyway, Greg, sorry I missed your show. I'll have to go back and listen. Anything from me or anyone to respond?
No, you got to go back and listen to me singing Rocky Mountain High.
Well, remember you laughed when I talked about Kansas. All you guys giving me shit. Give me shit when I'm wrong. Wait till then.
Okay. All
right.
right.
Well, anyway,
just go back and listen to me singing Rocky Mountain High. That was
I will do it, Greg, at some point tonight. You take
thank
care.
you, sir. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Bobby Madden, thanks for coming on in. Central Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa State, Indiana, Virginia, Maryland, Nebraska, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska are all current Big Ten Friday games scheduled. And Bobby, am I correct that all those games are on different dates, right? Now, I don't think Iowa, Nebraska will be on Peacock. Don't think that game will be on Peacock. That has drawn well on Black Friday when it's been on the Big Ten Network and when it hasn't been on the Big Ten Network. But maybe it is part of the contract. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be 2 Black Friday games now. That's right. It's not going to be just one. There's going to be 2 games on Black Friday. So one of those games will probably be on Peacock, now that I think about it. Is any of those other games on Black Friday? I don't think so. So we're still missing a couple more. If all the Peacock games are going to be on Friday night, if Mo and Vision's theory is correct, I think Mo and Vision's talking about the Nebraska-Iowa game. I don't think that's going to Peacock. But the rest of that, Patrick saying there's a lot of UFO information out there too, as well. And of course, some of that I believe things are happening somewhere, somehow. Nebraska, Iowa guaranteed game, Fox game for a Black Friday. But there's going to be a second one there. I believe I remember seeing that when the contract was first announced. I believe there's 2 games will be that Friday. Jim says the net Amazon's definitely out of the Big Ten sweepstake. If they can't get that Friday night slot for 2024, if they would have to share it with the Peacock, then they're out. Jim makes a good point. Mona Vision is saying, look, these Friday night games, Peacock games, will be used to test the viability of streaming. If his theory is correct, and I'm buying into it, I'm buying into Mona Vision's theory. Craig is saying, I'm looking forward to seeing the horrible ratings Peacock will get compared to games on Fox, CBS, or NBC. Well, at least if they're on Friday night, they're not going head-to-head. They're not going ahead with Fox, CBS, or NBC. What I would be fascinated with is what does a Maryland-Virginia game on Peacock? What are those ratings compared to an FS1 Friday night game from the AAC, for example? Won't be AAC, I'm sorry. FS1 game, Big 12. Got it. Yep, Tony, you're correct. Thank you for that information. Nebraska, Illinois, October 6th. Fascinating. And it's all being done right in this time. Like April 23rd, April 24th, April 25th. The schedules are being moved right now. Without a commissioner, or I should say with an interim commissioner.
Call from.
So,
all right, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Greg, it's Soap in Space City. It's really what a treat to have you on late tonight. I just got back to the Casa and saw you, and I want to kind of change gears for a second, if you don't mind. I'm interested in the draft, the NFL draft with the Houston Texans, and there are a couple guys from the Big Ten that are that I'm looking at, and I was hoping I could get your input on them. I think probably the Texans are going to take C.J. Stroud with the second pick, but they have the 12th pick, and there are 2 guys that they're looking at. One of them is Jackson Smith-Njigba, the receiver from Ohio State, and the other is Lucas Van Ness, the defensive end from Iowa. Can you tell me? Can you give me some background on those 2 guys?
Well, the Iowa kid, Lucas Ness. You said you got him listed as a defensive end. Defensive end.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even. I think he might. I think he might end up as a defensive tackle. I don't think his position is solidified. I think that kid has the ability to play different positions on the defense. He's very unique. Very unique. I think he can play different positions on the defensive line. I think he's just what?
12th pick?
Huh?
You think he's worth the 12th pick?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a draft Nick. I don't analyze it to death. I don't know. 12 maybe seems a little too high to me. But the kid is he's just getting into his own. I mean, he's just growing up. And I think I did hear a report that teams were looking at different positions for him. Like I don't think it's been settled on where he's going to end up playing for his career. I think
What
and Nick
what's the story
Jigba
with him not starting in Iowa?
I think they used him all over the place.
Okay.
You know, the kid's he's very good. I think he's just, you know how some people develop later? He's one of these cats. 12, yeah, it's probably too high. But he's a player. He's a player.
What about Jackson Smith-Njigba?
He's a player. He's something else. He got injured. He didn't play much. His stock went down probably a little bit. That kid is brilliant. Nick Jigba he came out of Texas.
Yeah.
He played with a quarterback that the high school quarterback we got him, Jacob Clark. He went out and transferred after not getting ahead of Tanner Morgan. But no, he's the real deal. Both of them. I wouldn't go with the Iowa kid at number 12, but Nick Jigba I would take at 12. And CJ Stroud,
Yeah.
I'm a believer in CJ Stroud. So
That's all I needed to know.
Yep.
Friend.
All right, man.
My best to the little general.
Thank you so very much. She's listening, so she'll appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard for me to know what spot is, too high, too low, because I'm not sitting there figuring out like who should go ahead of them, what are the NFL teams' needs and all that. I'm a college football guy, but Van Ness is a player and he's going to get better. I think he's just scratching the surface. Nick Jigba I think he's absolutely brilliant. So I think he's going to be an absolute stud in the NFL. And CJ Stroud, I think he's going to be a really good pocket passer. Like I think he needs a little bit more development, but I think he's going to be very, very good. Opie, Greg, I believe that when the Big Ten and SEC go to 20 or more schools, they will have to play Friday night games, as it would be too many games for Saturday. Thank you so much, Opie, for the super chat. Your incredible generosity. You are correct. They play Friday night games now. They're going to play more of them.
Call from.
Hello. I'm sorry, I didn't get the name there.
Steve.
This Steve. Yeah. All right, thanks for calling again, sir. The floor is yours.
I don't think we touched on it. If we have, I apologize. I think I caught all the show, but what happened in Bristol, Connecticut today wasn't real encouraging if you're someone, and I know they weren't, from all reports, offering a big chunk of money to the Pac, but overall in the industry, when things like that are happening at ESPN, it's kind of a trickle-down effect, and I'm not sure that part of this is the NBA sitting out there waiting, and ESPN.
Oh, lost him. Call again, Steve. We lost you. Please call again. I don't think it was anything on this end, so give us a call, Steve. 763-260-133. No doubt about it. ESPN is loading up to try to keep keep the National Basketball Association, try to keep some of their rights. That's playing a big part in all this as well. Big layoffs for ESPN started this week. Mo and Vision, if Peacock can get 500,000, they would be ecstatic for those Friday night games. You're right, Opie, though. The Big Ten already plays Friday night games. And they're going to be playing more of them this year than ever before. The SEC, they're going to have to do it. All their games are played on the family of ESPN, right? The family of ESPN channels and ABC. They're going to have to do it. They're going to have to increase that bandwidth of when your games are going to be played. Now, Thursday nights, that tends to be dominated by NFL. And of course, we do have a little bit of, especially early in the season, a little bit of college football on Thursday nights during the season. But yeah, Friday nights, Sundays dominated by the NFL. I don't think we're going to see college football on Sundays except for that first weekend that we see it when the NFL hasn't started yet. Thank you, Opie, for your donation. Again, I appreciate you, good sir. Thank you so very much. Mr. Monkey says, Greg, if the Pac-12 stays together and San Diego State joins the Pac, does your mark stand down, or do you think it'll be still interested in adding a Pacific time zone? I think you'd be interested. We'll see if the media partners are interested. I don't know. I mean, I do believe they're still interested in Gonzaga. But the interesting question, of April 25th when it comes to realignment is Brett Yormark, is he starting to tighten the screws? I was asked that question, I think 2 live shows ago, and I kind of scoffed at it. Then the next live show, I said, maybe there's something to that. And now I'm starting to think there's really is something to that. There could be a possibility where Yormark is maybe putting a little bit of pressure saying, we need our yes or no.
Call from
Steve.
Hey, Steve, thanks for calling again, sir. Appreciate you calling back. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just reiterating about what happened at ESPN today, and I don't know that I would want to be negotiating a media contract right now with everything that's happening in the media industry. And I think part of what ESPN is doing is obviously trying to get into position to get the NBA contract and keep the NBA contract. And there's just things like this that just doesn't bode well for the Pac-10 to have anything of note for linear. Like your opinion on that, I would just like your opinion on where do they go linear? What do they do?
I don't. I think they have to take the ESPN. I think they have to take the ESPN offer, Steve. I do. I think they have to take the lowball ESPN offer. And then just try to cobble together enough other deals, something with streaming that they're going to, somebody might overpay to try to get into the college football space for the very first time or the first time in a long time. But I think they have to, I think ESPN has them over a barrel, Steve. They have to take it. Huh?
Yeah. What obviously you're pretty well connected. What is the number that you think they're realistically going to get? I'm not even talking about exposure, but the true dollar number that they're going to get, and what number will make will turn some heads at some of these Pac universities? What's your number, Greg?
I think, again, I've always focused, you want a number, I'll give you a number, but I've always focused on the exposure part of this. I think that's where Pac-12 has always been in trouble. They're not going to get a good exposure deal. They're not going to get a deal. There's a difference between accessibility and exposure. They're going to get something where people can say, yeah, I can access that easy. I can get on Apple TV. I can do this. I can do that. But are you going to actually turn the channel and watch it? You're going to go to a bar and watch it on that, whatever network's distributing that Pac-12 content. Are you actually going to go see it? That's where I think they're going to have an exposure issue because but they get back the number. I think they need, if it's going to be more than 50% linear, if it's going to be more of a traditional media package, more in the line of what that Big 12 has, they're going to get, if they're lucky, they're going to get $25 million per school. Wow. If they're for a more of a traditional, okay, let's say it's on, some of it's on ION, some of it's on CW. And I say that because I've been told the numbers that Fox and ESPN offered, and it's extremely low.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a streaming deal, if they're willing to roll the dice, and if they are, I'm going to be fascinated to see how this works. Right? I'm going to be fascinated for the next 5 years to see how this baby works. And if it grows, if the eyeballs grow on Pac-12 content, if Pac-12 country, like you and I, Steve, have been talking about, if Pac-12 country actually watches Pac-12 football on this new streaming service, whatever it is, it's going to be a fascinating story to watch. Because as you say, they might decline in value. They might decline even more. If they get that type of deal, then they'll get around the 30, 31, 32, 33 million dollars per school. But, I don't know if it's worth it to them.
Right. Well, I'll leave you with my last point, and it's been brought up by others, obviously, but the silence is deafening in Eugene and Seattle. It's just, there's nothing coming out of those two places like there is out of Boulder or Tucson or Tempe or wherever. It's just been dead silence there.
Yeah.
And I think we probably all know the reason. Although the Oregon president, is she not the head of the advisory committee or whatever they call it?
It's Washington State, it's Stanford, and it's Washington. They're the three that are on the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's just that you can't find Kliakoff with a search warrant. Okay? And there's probably a reason. Yeah. There's probably a reason for that. Because the people that hired him have probably said, George, just go do your job.
Yeah.
And I like your timeline. I just don't. I don't have a lot of confidence that things are going to work out well. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, anyhow, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate the show. Getting late here in Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm old.
I understand. We came on a little later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Steve.
Thanks.
Call again, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate the call, Steve. I know it's late, later than our usual shows, but that's how it worked out here in the family life of me and the little general. The little general is in the chat room. We do the best we can. That's what I say. We're unable to schedule our shows, so you got to keep your head on a swivel. We could pop up at any time. So the people that are watching our show for the very first time, the second time, and the third time, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure if you do have a Twitter account, follow us at Flug Empire, because sometimes I give people a heads up on when we're going on. All right, another call. Beautiful.
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Ryan Thomas is in the house. The floor is yours, good sir.
I'm telling you, Greg, if you make the threat that you will sing and keep singing until the Pac-12 either signs a deal or teams bolt to the Big 12, this will resolve itself within a week, Greg. I mean, it will literally. I think I'm onto something there.
Yes, I think you are.
I mean, I think Dion's probably on something, but it's interesting. As a side note, my niece actually tried out for the CU cheerleading team, and she's now in the final cuts, I think. So hopefully, she might be a Buffalo this fall. So that'll be interesting. So,
oh wow! Congratulations.
Yeah, maybe I'll go out there and check out the I'll definitely go see her games, but maybe I'll check out the sideshow there too.
Yeah.
An interesting question that I have, and I think this is about streaming in general. And Mullen Vision had brought up the point how this is a good test run for Peacock and for streaming in general. And I think in general with streaming, as long as you have the SEC and Big Ten on huge linear platforms, if I'm a streamer, I'd be really hesitant to want to have a lot of content on a Saturday going head-to-head with that. I know things might get smoother, but the value, the diehard fans will subscribe and tune in, and maybe you're making money off of subscriptions there, but certainly the exposure is not there, and certainly you're not going to get the number of viewers there to really bring in the advertising dollars. So I mean, I think it's interesting, why Amazon would want a Friday game. And coming back to Apple, it's kind of an all Apple deal. I'm pretty sure that maybe the Pac-12 will sell. Maybe they can get $40 million per school if they meet some sort of rosy benchmarks. If there's a whole bunch of contingent things. Or it could be a disaster. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Apple will do whatever it needs to do to mitigate and hedge its risk. But thinking about this is, right now, kind of where you have the primary model right now is, everything premium is in the prime slots on linear on Saturday, and anything that's kind of is sort of on the streaming platform right now, and the model hasn't really inverted. So I mean, if I'm a streamer, as long as the model's sort of that way, and it's sort of the market's that way, I'd be hesitant in wanting to take on a huge package of games, and I'd be hesitant to want to have them on Saturdays, going head to head against these various. Different, these various big conferences, because you're already down there with, you're already down for the count against that. But, I mean, you're just not going to get great ratings. And, I'm not sure sort of what's in it for, if I'm Apple, maybe I want to get in the space, but, if I'm Apple, is it better just, waiting 5 or 6 years, when, the Big Ten or SEC come up again, and try to pitch something in a different environment where maybe streaming is a little bit more accepted and more widespread, and get more national brands and kind of widen your reach and widen your subscriptions. I can totally see, doing a test run maybe the Pac-12, but still, in this current environment, that's kind of risky given the low, the lineup of games that's going to be on Saturday. And those are just sort of my thoughts. That's what I want to get you. I'm sort of interested to kind of hear your opinions on that. And that's probably one of the challenges I think that that Pac-12 deal faces is that element. And I'm sure that Apple is going to want to be very careful. And maybe if they reach a certain number of subscribers or viewers, maybe the money goes up, but maybe it doesn't. I mean, maybe they kind of have a baseline around that $25 million you were talking about, and if they meet certain targets and performance metrics, they can bump that up. But meeting those metrics is going to be very difficult when you're competing against games that are on CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN, ABC, and big matchups, and sort of that's going to be a difficult thing to do. And it's almost as if they might want to go out there and sell that as some sort of big win, and maybe Apple's agrees to pay off the Comcast debt and buy the Pac-12 network, and maybe they kind of say, "Hey, look at all this great money we're getting," but really it's kind of a smoke screen, which is part and parcel for how they kind of operate. But I just want to, I'll leave you with that, and just interested in your thoughts about sort of that whole issue, and maybe the hesitance or the challenges of a streaming partner wanting to, a big one like an Apple or Amazon, wanting to get into that space, knowing how the barriers that kind of exist with Saturday play. So I'll go ahead and leave you with that and get your thoughts, and have a great night. And I forgot to wish you a belated happy birthday. I forgot that was rude of me, but keep singing, Greg, until they resolve the situation.
Got it.
Your only hope, Greg.
Got it. Appreciate it. I mean, let's look at it. What are the hurdles? One of the hurdles that we probably never discussed on this channel is for Apple to get part of the Pac-12 deal and have some Friday night games is, look, they're not going to have that Friday night slot completely to themselves. If Mo and Vision's theory is correct, and it probably is, if Peacock are going to line up their 8 Big Ten games during the year on Friday nights, Amazon's going to be lining up Pac-12 Friday night games during the year. Amazon's not going to have that Friday night streaming college football slot to themselves. So it'll be fascinating to watch if Amazon does get a piece of that Pac-12. If Pac-12 holds together the streaming numbers, Peacock, Big Ten country versus Pac-12 Amazon numbers. That's going to be fun to watch if it happens. But again, that's the competition Amazon's going to have to face that I don't think we even discussed before. So, interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Thanks for the great call. A lot of discussion in the chat about the Big 12, Oregon and Washington. Again, nobody among their leadership has spoken a word throughout all these months. They have completely stayed quiet. They haven't said a word. Rick Olson goes, "Gold Duckies." Not a word. Not a word. Ryan Matson, Sky Yuma again. Tonight's show, we've had a couple of different things going on here. First of all, Tyler Buchner enters the transfer portal. He's got a DNC listed in his portal entry. Do not contact. Schools are not supposed to contact him. I think he knows where he wants to go. He's waiting. He's probably calling Alabama, possibly Florida, possibly Tennessee. I think Alabama has to be pretty careful in this situation. I'm not a big fan of Tommy Rees. I don't know. I think Alabama has lost its edge. And then we talked about the great Colorado Purge. Max Olson, earlier in the evening, talking about how there's 22 Colorado players in the portal since the spring game. And then, bam, another Colorado offensive lineman, Travis Gray, enters the portal. Out of the signed 23 scholarship freshmen for the 2022 team, 19 of them are transferring. And then we've been talking about these Friday night games, or Saturday games being moved to Friday here in the last couple of days. Brett McMurphy has been all over it. Michigan State season opener versus Central Michigan moved to Friday, September 1st. Indiana's home game with Indiana State moved up a day to Friday, September 8th. Virginia at Maryland game moved up a day to Friday, September 15th. And now we've got information from our tough Tony in the chat room that Illinois-Nebraska has also moved to a Friday game this year. Which begs the question, how are Nebraska Cornhuskers fans feeling right now that they have a game on Thursday to start the season at Minnesota? They play Friday, a game at Illinois, and then I think they're at home against Iowa on Friday, Black Friday game. So they've got 3 games out of the 12 games on a Thursday or Friday. That's a lot. That's a lot for Nebraska. I wonder how they're feeling about that. I think if it's the home team has to okay it. I don't know if the away team has to okay it. I'm not sure on that. Isn't Tyler Buchner better than any Minnesota quarterback? Asked by Jim Choi. I don't know. Callie Yakmanis, I said the name correctly. Athen Callie Yakmanis, the Greek rifle, Minnesota Golden Gophers, watches tape against Wisconsin as a redshirt freshman last year when Minnesota went down into Madison, Camp Randall Stadium. Watch what the Greek rifle did, then watch him in that spring game. I'm not sure. I don't think Tyler Buchner is better than Callie Yakmanis. Rifle is a 6-star. He was a 4-star. He wasn't a 6-star. There is no 6 stars. I don't know. We shall see. What does it mean when colleges go quiet? It might mean nothing. It might mean something. It might mean everything. When leadership of a school goes quiet when talking about their conference, it gets interesting, Rick. Texas and Oklahoma, the leadership did not say anything for months about Big 12 reform, Big 12 doing this, Big 12 doing that. We talked about it at Flag Empire Twitter during the time. Texas and Oklahoma, they weren't talking. They weren't saying anything. And then with USC, we said it all through last year. USC's athletic director, president, weren't talking anything about the Pac-12. They were not going in front of a camera. They weren't doing interviews. They weren't saying stuff like, oh, we feel very positive about the Pac-12's future and the next media rights. Other people, leadership from other schools were doing exactly that. USC, quiet. And now again, we're having Washington and Oregon. Plenty of opportunities to get in front of a mic if they wanted to say, we're confident we're going to get a deal done. We're committed to the Pac-12. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They have plenty of opportunities in all these months to say anything, something. And they haven't said a word. They haven't said a word. They haven't even gone up there and say, we're committed to the Pac-12. Stephen McKinley, the thing I like best about PATC is I don't have to keep up with the articles and reports because Greg does it for me. That's one of the things, thanks Steve, I appreciate it, sir. That's one of the things we're trying to do at Peek Around the Corner, just be somewhere where you can just drop in and think and figure out what the big story is of college football, and we'll give it to you. But again, I give you my take on it. And often you disagree with me, and you should disagree with me. So I do put a little bit of spin on it. I do put a little bit of a take on it. So be careful with my bias here at Peek Around the Corner. But yes. Secret agent, to jump in here, Mona Vision, is your assertion that because of one game, some people in that demographic that don't have Apple will get it just to watch other games from those two teams? Texas Tech versus Minnesota. Yeah. God bless Mike Leach. Yeah, that was, I got no comment. The largest comeback victory of any team in a bowl game in the history of bowl games when Texas Tech came back to beat my beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. Mr. Monkey says, Greg, will PATC have any volunteer reporters attending the Big Ten Commissioner press conference and induction? No, we're just going to watch it together. I'll have to see. I'll have to figure out my schedule and see if we're going to do a live watch party on that press conference. I definitely don't think Tony Petitti is going to say anything about realignment other than we're happy where we are. The onboarding is very, very difficult. We're putting all of our times on that. We always keep our eyes open in the landscape, stuff like that. I don't think he's going to say really anything that's of importance in realignment. I would like for him to talk about his vision of the scheduling, and not just football, but in basketball and other sports. So, we may do a watch party during that press conference. So where we're watching it together, you're watching at home, we can comment here in real time. We may do that. May 15th, Tony. When's the new commissioner getting sworn in? May 15th. Yeah, there we go. May 15th. Mo and Vision. Yeah. I'm not getting a press pass for anything Big Ten. Nothing Big Ten related. Mo and Vision is absolutely correct here. Streamers lose billions early on to establish themselves in a market, to get themselves in a certain space in a market. They will lose billions. They have. They're doing it now. So, Apple TV, Apple might be willing to overpay for the Pac-12. But are all 10 Pac-12 university presidents, are they willing to sign on the dotted line for a 5-6 year deal with Apple TV, where Apple TV owns all of it or almost all their content? I'm going to say no. I don't think they'll do it. Not all of them. But time will tell, won't it? Time will tell. Yeah, if Robbins keeps to his word, he said it's not going to be a majority stream and it's not going to be anywhere close to a majority streaming deal. That's what he said. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. Live show during the presser. I think that might work. Anyways, I think we're going to close it up for tonight. We've been on the air for almost 2 hours in a late night special here at Peek Around the Corner. I want to thank you all for coming in. Great phone calls, great comments, trying to figure out this Friday night Big Ten scheduling. A lot of games are being moved to Friday here in the last few days. We might have cracked the mystery. The Mo Envision's theory on those games, some of those games or all those games are going to be on Peacock streaming for the Big Ten, part of the Big Ten contract. We talked about the Colorado Purge. It's huge. It's massive. We haven't seen anything like this. And not close. I think it's too much. Too much, too soon. But we shall see. And then, of course, I had to sing Rocky Mountain High because of the Colorado Purge, the realignment rumors of the Colorado and everything that's involved with Deion Sanders. Holy smokes. Rocky Mountain High, I think most of you survived it. Some of you probably never came back to the channel. That's my loss. That's not your loss. So make sure before you leave, smash that like button if you liked our content and subscribe to our channel. That's the one way that you can get notified that we're when, where, how we're going to pop up next. Nobody knows. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other.